What's up, everybody? Today's guest on the podcast is a really good friend of mine. He's got his master's in physical therapy. He's a certified and licensed athletic trainer. He's got a certification in strength and conditioning, and he's also got a certification in what's called neuro-emotional technique. I've known him for years. Really looking forward to sitting down with this guy and learning about more of his journey and sharing that with you all. My good friend, Justin Cobb.
What's up, brother? That was good.
Thanks for coming, man.
Of course.
We're here at what I refer to as the spot, otherwise known as New Dimensions Wellness.
Known as a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, my brother. I'm actually honored that you asked me to do this with you. So
yeah, we've done a couple of these already and kind of never went through with it, but this time it's for real.
This one's dope, man, because this one now is yours.
Yeah.
Like this is the Chestslap podcast. This is the Shane Green podcast, nothing else. So yeah, man, honored to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. I wanted to talk to you mainly because you're one of like the happiest, most smiling, most inspiring, positive energy people I've ever been around in my life. And I thank you for that. But I've known you for what, 15 years now?
Probably about that, yeah.
15, 20 years. I met you when I was like 20. And I've never asked you about you before we met. Like we just met, became friends, and then we just been vibing ever since. But I want to know more about like Justin as a kid. Like I don't even know where you were born at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I was born in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. Grew up in Coral Springs. Went to Coral Springs High School. Graduated.
Coral Springs is like Miami?
Coral Springs is like 15, 20 minutes north of Fort Lauderdale. You know where Boca's at? Yeah. Just south of Boca.
Okay, so it's just straight up 95.
Just straight up 95, straight up the turnpike. About me before we met. I mean, me as a kid, I was actually I was a young male model.
A male model?
You didn't know that about me?
I had never known that about you.
I did commercials, shoots for like Hershey's, Lacoste.
All right, hold on. Yeah. How old were you when you were a male model?
Probably from like the time I was an infant to
you were an infant male model.
An infant male model up to about 8 years old.
Your mom signed you up for this?
She did. Yeah, my grandfather used to take me all the castings. Let me see if I can find it. You can probably even find some of my shoes. No lie, dog. I went to CVS. This is maybe like 5 years ago, to the little photo center, and they had a Kodak like propaganda commercial, and it was my ass on it, like literally my ass.
Justin Cobb's ass, right there, at the Walgreens.
Let me show you this.
So you were a male model from an infant until what age?
Till about 8 years old.
Till 8 years old.
This here made me a lot of money. That's my ass. That was in the Kodak.
Who's the other person?
I don't know, but if she remembers that photo, holler at me.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. How did I never know that?
I don't know. That's crazy. Yeah.
So when you were a kid, you wanted to be a model?
No, never. That was just something that my parents put me in. No, you do what your parents tell you to do. Like I had curly blonde hair, so long ways from this.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I had curly blonde hair. They put me in modeling. I made a little money doing that, nothing crazy. It actually bought me my first car though. Bought me a Chevy Impala, a 96 Impala.
So you bought your first car with your modeling money?
I had a big body Impala in South Florida. Wow. So, yeah. All my friends used to ride in the Impala though. We would go crazy in that thing. Stories about the Impala for sure. But then, man, I got into sport. All kids play sports. Well, men play sports, coming up through school, played football and volleyball, soccer, but I wasn't a professional athlete, obviously, right? So at all, but I love sports. So I was like, man, what can I do to stay around sports and, find a job? That's like what they teach you when you're growing up in a middle class family.
But when you were, let's say you were elementary school and you were in the front yard and you were dreaming, when I was in the front or the backyard, I was always playing baseball.
Yeah.
What were you playing? You were playing football?
Played it all.
You played everything?
Football, then we would switch to basketball, then we
And you played at like the YMCA and stuff too, or no?
Nah, we just played it.
You only just played in the streets?
And school. So you know what, man? I played like Little League soccer. I played Little League baseball. I made it to like coach's pitch, and then,
Yeah.
and then the first year kid's pitch, I was like, nah. Baseball was always like just a little too slow for me.
Yeah.
So, man, football in the yard, basketball in the yard. We play tag, manhunt, like just kid stuff. Middle school,
No
Pop
video
Warner
games.
football. Video games wasn't anything that really started popping until shit. I don't know. Like when did Super Mario Brothers come out on Nintendo? You know what I'm saying? But even when that was something like you played on the weekends.
You were right before video games, like your
I
generation.
ain't that old, dog. I had video games. But you played video games like on the weekends. You ran a game at Blockbuster, popped the new game, and you played on the weekends. But other than that, you're always outside just playing, doing
baseball and
guy
soccer,
shit,
and
climbing trees,
modeling,
bullshit and modeling,
all that kind of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what made you stop modeling? You quit or your parents stopped?
So man, my father, he always worked,
what did he
provided
do?
for the family. He sold like carpet, drapes, like things that people would put like in their homes with curtains, things like that. And then my mom, she worked as a preschool teacher. So my grandfather, he would always take me to like the castings for the modeling stuff. And I think we stopped. Just like my grandfather got busy, or maybe he got old and he couldn't, lost his eyesight, so he couldn't take me to those castings anymore. And that's pretty much why I stopped. I think that was the story. But again, I was so young. You're like,
my mom took me to. I'll never forget this. My mom took me to Leave It to Beaver. You ever seen that movie?
It was a show, wasn't it?
I think it was a show back in the day, and then they made a movie, maybe. Okay. But my mom took me to that casting. And I'll never forget it because I was so excited. I don't remember how old I was.
You were going to be Beaver?
Nah. Well, I didn't know. At the time, I didn't know who I was casting for. And I told her this recently, and she said, well, let me finish the story first. So she takes me to the casting. I specifically remember like standing in front of like a makeshift chimney. Basically, I'm in a living room.
Little fireplace.
A fireplace and a chimney, whatever. And there's like 3 or 4 people like just sitting at a table in front of me, and I got my lines that I've had for 20 minutes, and I don't remember what any of the lines were, but I did the thing and I was super excited. And then afterwards I asked mom like, who was I trying out for? And I remember I'm pretty sure the kid's name in the movie was Larry, which is my dad's name. So I'm like, I was like super excited, right? So long story short, I didn't get it. Movie comes out, I'm still a kid, I got to see this movie. So I see the movie, and the kid that got the role was the fat kid. And I'm like, damn, am I fat? that was like when I figured out like I
got skinny shamed.
No, I think I was fat.
You were fat at that time?
I was fat when I was a kid.
Oh shit, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah,
dog.
when I was in middle school, bro, when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I wore 36 waisted shorts and double XL shirts.
In fucking middle school, you was a 36?
And I wear 34 right now. I was a big boy.
Damn.
I was a big boy.
So you didn't become an athlete till later.
A lot of people argue that I'm still not an athlete because I only pitch, but man, I was a fat kid. But I didn't really know that I was fat. And then I remember
I feel like everyone's fat in middle school.
Yeah. Oh, I ate a lot. I can still eat a lot. But back when I was a kid, I didn't know that I was eating too much. Everybody's just like, oh, you're a big, strong boy. Keep eating. You know what I mean? But now you grow up and you're like, oh, shit, I was fat. But I remember like around 8th, 9th grade, I realized that like I wasn't like crazy fat, but I was chunky. And I just remember like every night I was doing like ab exercises in my room because I didn't want to be the fat kid no more. And then by 10th grade, I was the skinny kid again. But when Leave It to Beaver came out and the kid that got the role that I tried out for, that was like the starting point of me learning that I was the fat kid.
But the dude was fat too that got the role.
Yeah.
He was fatter than you or not as fat as you?
I don't know.
Can't remember.
I can't answer that question.
Yeah, I feel like whenever people look back in like middle school or middle school yearbooks, they're always like, oh, I was fat.
I was fat.
Everyone's fat in middle school.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone goes through the fat phase.
Well,
in middle school.
And if you saw all my middle school and high school yearbook pictures, wow. Bro, wow. And one of them, I had like a double pop. I was the kid with the double popped collar.
Oh, shit.
My
frosted tips.
My bottom collar matched the little moose on my shirt.
What's the moose? That's Abercrombie?
Yeah. I wouldn't wear anything but Abercrombie in that stage of my life. I was pretty sick.
Shit.
But so you were a model till you were 8,
Yeah.
and then you stopped doing that. You only played recreational sports, basically. Did you play
Man,
on
that
any?
makes me sound like I sucked at sports, dog.
Well,
I was
no, you were a
good.
PE player. It's all good.
What's a PE stand for?
Physical education.
No,
Like you only
I
play
was-
sports
I
in
was- I was
PE.
more than that. That was more than that.
So
Man,
you didn't play any recreational stuff, like organized.
Yeah, no, of course I did.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Little League
you
baseball,
sounded.
Pop Warner football.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you played all that.
Yeah, and then Pop Warner all the way through high school. High school football. I mean, I was the captain of the team every year.
see.
So yeah, I was.
What position did you play in high school?
What year?
Freshman year.
No, so I don't fit the mold for any position. So my freshman
But you got a lot of
freshman
heart.
year, I got hella heart. My freshman year, everyone wants to be a quarterback. I was like, yo, I'm gonna be the quarterback of the high school team. I'm gonna get all the bitches, right?
Yeah.
Like quarterback gets all the
Quarterback.
girls. So I was quarterback, and man, again, I grew up in Coral Springs, so like we don't have athletes. Like it's not Miami.
Yeah.
So
It's-
like
it's
if you
like-
were, we're Coral Springs.
Yeah, it's
like,
not Miami.
we got a few good athletes, but we don't have a whole squad of athletes,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So like we played against
All the good players in Coral Springs go to Miami and play on the good teams.
or like Deerfield or
Yeah.
Pompano. Like, man, South Florida's stacked for football. Like I played against hella dudes that went to the league.
Really?
Yeah. Like a lot.
You were friends with any of them or no?
Nah, like we knew each other from football.
Yeah.
Like on
not
a
like
respect
homies,
level.
homies.
Yeah, we didn't hang out. Like, but so man, I went both ways. Not like that. I played both ways. I played
You
both
play
ways.
on both sides of the ball.
Quarterback, safety, safety on defense, special teams, and then that was JV though.
Yeah.
Then when I went to varsity, like they had good athletes, and I ended up playing fullback, tight end. Like they moved me around. I was a long snapper. But sophomore, junior, and senior year, just offense and fullback and tight end. But
All 4 years varsity?
no, freshman JV and then varsity after that.
Sick.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
know that.
no, yeah, like I could play with like after that I had like some D3 offers. What's the not the NCAA, but like at the time was NAIA.
Yeah, NAIA.
I got
They
some
still got that.
NAIA, offers, but man, I'm also somewhat intelligent, so I had the Bright Future Scholarship
Yeah.
to go to any public school, 75% paid. So I was like, man, I'm just gonna retire my jersey.
You hung it up
focus on
hung it up in the
academics.
rafters.
Yeah. You drop my gloves in the middle of the octagon.
And then when you went from high school to college, you already knew what you wanted to do, or you just were winging it?
No, so I grew up in South Florida in the 80s and the 90s. So I'm a UM fan through and through. Like you can't be anything else if you
The
grew
only
up.
person I know that's a Miami fan as hard as you is my cousin.
Haji is too, Annie.
Haji's a fan, but
Okay.
you and my cousin are on like a different level.
You grew up in Miami in the 80s. Like that's it. That's like it's a religion.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you're a Miami fan.
Yeah.
My uncle had a license plate. It said Floridian by birth, hurricane by the grace of God. Like, and that's what we drove on, like his hoopty Oldsmobile through Miami. My uncle lived in the hood. Like that's when we was in Miami. But so growing up like that, in my mind as a kid, I'm like, yo, I'm going to UM. Like, can't go to Florida State.
No,
out of the question.
Out of the question.
Can't go to
Can't
UF.
be a Gator.
Out of the question.
Can't be a Seminole.
And then, once you get a little bit more intelligent, you're like, oh man, Miami's a private school. Like
That costs
costs
money.
a lot of
As
money.
But you need bread.
And on this side, I got 75% of college paid for. I can't go to FSU. I can't go to UF, just out of the question. I'm not doing it. I guess I'm gonna go to UCF. And in my mind, I was like, yo, Universal's right there. Like, I'm gonna just ride roller coasters in my spare time.
Yeah.
Like, cool, I'm going to Orlando. That was 2001, and I've been here ever since.
Damn. So when you became a UCF Knight,
Yeah.
you weren't playing sports no more. But when you went straight into your freshman year, like you knew you wanted to be in a medical field, or you were still just kind of young, being a college kid.
Nah, I knew I wanted to be around sports, so I went into athletic training, which is it's like the people that run out on the field when someone gets hurt. Like you're working with the football teams,
You're
and all that. So I was like,
taping the
like,
ankles, you're icing the necks.
So I was like, man, cool. I'm gonna do this athletic training school. Like, seems cool. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna work for the Dolphins. Like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do.
So your dream job was to be an athletic trainer for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Wow.
At first.
Yeah.
That changed very quickly. like hella quick. So in college, you know, first you do your undergraduate studies, right? There's stupid stuff, the math, all the garbage that they make you learn that don't really help you in any sort of vocation or career. And then I got into athletic training school, and I learned fast, like the job doesn't get the respect that the education garners, right? So you get a great education, but then like they got you standing on the sidelines holding 2 fucking cases of water bottles, like filled to the top of 6 water bottles each, dog. That's like 7 pounds.
Yeah,
and they're like, yo, you can't put them down. And you have to sit there holding fucking water bottles. Now think about this, dog. I'm a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, yo, like fuck y'all. Like, you want me showing up at 4:30 a.m., filling coolers, doing these treatments, holding these heavy ass water bottles throughout practice, not putting them down. After practice, clean the water coolers, do treatments and stuff after playing, clean up everything, and then go home and be back at 4:30 a.m. again. I'm like, yo, y'all got me twisted. Like, no, like
I'm good on that.
I actually, like, I got called into I'm gonna shout her out, Mary Vanderheiden.
Shout out Mary.
Yeah, I think she's like the head athletic trainer now at UCF. Like she worked her way up.
She's still going.
Yeah, but
she was like a classmate.
She was an assistant at the time. No, she was like an assistant with the football team at the time. But she was part of like the athletic training program, and they called me in like Justin, do you really want to do this? Like, do you really want to be part of this program? I'm gonna get more into that later. That happened in physical therapy school too. But that's when I realized, I'm like, yo, like, no, athletic training ain't for me, because they don't get paid anything, and they work hard. Yeah, like they work real hard.
Yeah, they're so like the grunts,
big time. But they're smart, and it's a great, like, it's a great education.
They're like the front line, and then they're also one of the first people that gets blamed if the athlete gets hurt.
100%. Yeah.
So like if the athlete gets hurt, the people that are in charge of the team are immediately angry at the athletic trainer or even sometimes like the strength coach.
Right.
It's never the athlete's fault, so it's like a.
And on the flip side, dog, like, and man, no offense to athletes, but like athletes do what they're told. So in essence, like, I don't think it's the athlete's fault either. And this is a whole nother route that we can go down to. We could probably talk about this in a whole nother podcast, but like, what is the training like for athletes, and why are athletes getting injured so much? And I have my own ideas and theories on that. But just going back to the original question, like, man, athletic training wasn't it. And that's when I knew I wasn't going to be the head athletic trainer for the Miami Dolphins.
So when that dream was crushed because you didn't want to be the water boy, you went straight into physical therapy?
Nah, so little blessing in disguise. Part of the athletic training program, like, they try to prep you for the job world and everything. So you have to show up for an interview with all the athletic trainers and tell them like what job you want within the world of UCF and athletic training. Like, so whether you want to work like the football team, the, baseball, soccer, whatever. So one, I was late for my interview by a lot.
Why?
Hungover, probably a little college shit. I forgot. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm paying for this. Like, we're using the shit,
I'm
like,
paying you.
I'm paying, I pay what this costs like $25,000 a year. Like, I'll show up when I get there.
Yeah.
So when I got there, they're like, all right, Justin, what sport you want to work with? I'm like, yo, put me with female track. And they was like, no.
No, sir.
Oh my God, track girls. Sprinters? Oh, man. You like sprinters?
I think I like hurdlers.
Yeah, come on, same thing. Yo, female track athletes, 100% by far, like the best physical bodies in all the female sports.
You think so?
Who's better than that? Give me a sport that has better bodies than female track athletes. And I'm not talking about shot putters.
I would say track, soccer.
Yeah. But
probably volleyball.
Volleyball, I think volleyball you can have an argument. But yeah, track, soccer, volleyball. I agree with that.
But I think that it's interesting because when I was younger, I would hang out with this girl Erica Timrack through a friend of mine, Murphy.
Yeah,
You know
Erica,
Murphy.
yeah.
Oh,
I know
you know
Erica
Erica.
too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, bet. So
Shout out Erica.
shout out Erica. We need to get you on here. Being around her when she was in college and just being around the whole team
Where'd
or
she
whatever.
go to college?
She went to UF. She was a Gator.
Okay, all right.
So me and Murphy used to go up there and party or whatever back then. And being around soccer girls, they're just like baseball players, like personality wise.
Like baseball dudes.
Their personality is like a baseball guy.
All right.
Yes.
Not like a softball.
Yeah. No, different.
All right.
But for whatever reason, like even Bo at Auburn hung out with the soccer players. Like the soccer players and the baseball players are always like best friends.
And baseball.
But I've never
football,
hung out. I never hung out with like a track female.
Man, you know, I didn't much either, but just within that
was your goal.
athletic training. Like, like I would have rubbing hamstrings in the athletic training room, and I was like, I like this one. Like, this is cool. I can do this.
So they said, nah, Justin, you can't
Like,
be.
absolutely not.
You're not with the track team.
No,
so who they put you with?
They sent me to Oak Ridge High School here in Orlando. But again, man, Oak Ridge High School was a blessing in disguise. Like, man, it was super dope. Oak Ridge is right over in like Oak Ridge Road towards Pine Hills. At the time, man, it was an F school.
It's like by Evans.
Yeah, like is Evans Jones and Oak Ridge is that area. So I did an internship at Oak Ridge High School, and then when I graduated athletic training school and I was going into physical therapy school, Oak Ridge actually offered me a part-time job to work there in my off hours. So that's kind of how that's one of the ways I made some extra money through college and everything. We got so many good stories. I hope we can get to them all. I'm going to make this one fast because this one's not that funny. But I'm working at Oak Ridge High School, and UCF has this program where if you take interns from the athletic training program, they'll give you waivers for tuition. So I would get students from UCF, and they would be my student at Oak Ridge, even though I was only part-time. But the head athletic trainer at Oak Ridge High School, her name was Stephanie Lennon, super cool lady, amazing person. And she was like, yeah, Justin, like, man, I'm not going back to school. Like, you want to take it. So I actually paid for my master's degree with those tuition waivers.
Wow.
So like when I said like that was the biggest blessing, you know what I'm saying?
Free school.
I never even really I've told this story before, but like looking back at it, like, I came out of like a master's program with no debt, no payments because I worked part-time at Oak Ridge High School.
Wow.
And I got to Oak Ridge High School because I was fucked up, hungover, and late, and went to this interview late.
This just reminds me, I just finished the Matthew McConaughey book, Green Lights.
You finished that already?
Well, I've been listening to it.
I was going to say, you just started that one.
I don't read books. I don't know if I've ever read a book, but I've been listening to it. I just finished it, and he would call that a green light. Green lights.
A green light's like a
green light's like a blessing in disguise, basically.
Yeah. But you don't know, like, you don't know it
until
it's
over.
too late.
Yeah.
You have to reflect to realize what it was. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, man, Oak Ridge was super cool to me. So, man, we're talking about ways of making money in college, right? Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of good stories. So I was actually the bootleg guy in college.
You were bootlegging?
Before bootlegging was cool, I was bootlegging.
What were you bootlegging?
No, what'd you need?
So you were the plug for everything.
Like your Nikes had those, like all the dunks that came out.
Really?
Louis Vuitton bags, backpacks, laptop cases, like Burberry wallets.
Everything.
And I was slinging them on campus.
You were like the Mexican flea market.
Right there on UCF's campus. Right. Absolutely, yeah.
You got the fake Gucci, the fake Louis, the fake
but
everything.
My shit was dope. It had the little dust bags. It had serial number cards. Like,
it looked real.
The only way you knew that my shit was fake is like in 2 months, like the leather is ripping.
Yeah, you need a new one.
You needed a new one.
How much were you selling those for?
Man, I couldn't tell you. Back in 2002, prices was different.
It was a good deal.
But
do you still have any of it?
No, I'm kind of more. I don't want to say I'm minimalistic, but like I don't like hanging on to things. So I threw out a lot of shoes. I donated a lot of shoes.
Yeah.
I work in Colombia, right? So I brought a whole bunch of stuff out there.
I seen a video on Instagram one time said that you should clean your closet out once a year. Yeah. Because if your closet is clustered, your brain is clustered. If your brain is clustered, your life is clustered, and you can't like be enlightened, basically. I don't
remember this woman's name, but the name of her book, I think, is called The Art and Magic of Tidying Up. And she says that not just about your closet, but your sock drawer, your underwear drawer, like your clothes drawers. Like if you're not using this stuff or when you put it in there, like put it in there in order. Because if that's in order, your life's in order, your mind's in order.
Well, I would say I'm like a professional tidier upper. I'm not good at like cleaning, but I tidy up. Like
you got all the same hangers though.
I do have all the same hangers, but like my room, there's kind of low key shit everywhere, but like it's like tidy. It's tidy. Yeah. Even like my hotel room when we're during the season when I'm on the road, like my suitcase isn't like perfectly folded, like but like all my shirts will be laid on this chair and all my shorts will be laid on this chair and they'll be like tidy. It won't just be like thrown. Like a fucking tornado went through the room, you know? But it won't be perfect. And I'll make my bed every morning, but I'm not a bed maker professional.
Right, no
so like
hospital corners.
I'm not tucking it up under.
Grade,
but like it's made. You know, it's ready for someone to get in it.
You might have told me this story one time, but wasn't it like the little Navy general that he was like start every day by making your bed?
Yeah, it's like it's like the willpower muscle.
Something like that, yeah.
It's like I forget what it was like I did it when I was in AA. It's like a 30-day willpower muscle challenge where you do something every day that you were procrastinating on doing or you needed to do. It could be anything from brushing your teeth to calling your grandma to whatever.
I hope people brushing their teeth.
And one of those things was
making your bed. I want to say he was giving this speech to college graduates and he was like, start every day by making your bed. And that was his, like, he was the keynote speaker.
Yeah.
So he was like, if you wake up every morning and you make your bed, like you started your day with something positive.
Yeah, with
like
you
a
got
task. Something done.
Yeah, like with a task.
Yeah, like you're already getting shit done.
And you created that like get shit done mindset basically.
Man, what were we just talking about before that?
Oak Ridge, free
No, not that. Man, I lost that train of thought.
Oh, cleaning my closet. Being tidy.
Dog. So this lady said something, or she wrote it in her book. It's like we had a conversation. But she said, you turn all your hangers, facing one way. When you wear something, flip it the other way. She's like, at the end of, I don't know if it was a year. It might have been a year, might have been 6 months.
Whatever,
but if you haven't flipped it, Joe, donate it. Get rid of it.
Wow.
You haven't worn it in 6 months. Get rid of that.
That's funny, man.
Like, that ain't for you.
I every time I come home from the season, Shane Mart. Yeah, Shane Mart.
Every time I come home from stuff right now, I think.
Every time I come home from the season, I create a Shane Mart bag or a Shane Mart box, but there's still shit in my closet that I haven't worn.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes I'm like, oh well, if I'm doing this, I have a drawer for when I go to Mexico. Like this is the clothes I take when I go to Mexico.
That's all right though, because you're gonna use that. Like you don't get rid of your suits because I got this suit. I might need to wear this at a wedding.
But shoes, I got too many shoes, man.
Yeah, donate them. And
I got too many shoes.
Unless you're a collector, but
But I told myself that I need to stop buying clothes until I'm done with all these clothes.
You would never be done. You can wear probably all the clothes you have for the rest of your life.
That's
never
what I'm
be
saying.
done with them.
I can never be done
with it. So you never have to buy clothes again.
Potentially.
You're set.
Unless I get swole shit.
We just saved you a lot of money.
I'm saying I haven't bought. Bo just gave me these shoes, but I haven't bought. That's a lie. I just bought this shirt. I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. So you went to college. You did the Oak Ridge. You got free masters. You were bootlegging shit in college to make extra cash.
Yeah.
And then when you got out of college, you went straight into physical therapy.
But that's still college.
Oh, you were doing that while you were in college?
Because physical therapy is a master's program.
So when we met...
You're talking about when I graduated physical therapy
When we met at Sport Specific...
No, I was graduated, but I graduated physical therapy in 2007.
You were the physical therapist there, yeah?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you went right into that, and you did that until...
Yeah, so...
Because when you went from there to Premier, when you were at Premier, you weren't a physical therapist anymore, yeah? That's when you were more personal.
I'm still a physical therapist now. I'm licensed and certified.
But when I think physical therapy, I think like only rehab. When you were at Premier, you were training.
But it's a cool story. So Sport Specific, where we met, the reason why I took that job is because it was like the only sports physical therapy place in town.
It was only Sport Specific.
No, you remember it had the turf, like no place had that.
It was a sick spot.
So I actually did 2 internships too with the Orlando Predators and Sports Specific. Because I was an athletic trainer too. I did graduate athletic training school. So I was dual credentialed. So being at Sports Pacific, they had a contract for the Orlando Predators, which was an arena football team, which was crazy. So I was interning with the Orlando Predators, like covering all their games, covering all their practices, which was cool because I liked football. And at the time, Jay Gruden, John's little brother, was the quarterback for the Predators.
Oh wow,
hella cool.
The Predators were way bigger then than it is now.
Yeah. I think the league folded and
really?
Just came back. But like arena football, I'm not gonna say it was huge, but they were.
But when I was young, it was a big thing.
Yeah, like they would sell out the Amway, kind of like the Magic.
It was a big thing.
And it was cool because like it was crazy. Like people would have the beer helmets. Like girls would be showing titties. Like it was like a mix between Mardi Gras and a football game. So like being there, you're like, yo, this is the shit. Especially a kid in college.
This is the show.
Like this, this is the show. So Orlando made it to the Arena Bowl. I think is what they called it, like the Arena Bowl, Super Bowl. And they were playing against the Tampa Bay. I think it was the Storm. Maybe it was the Tampa Storm. And the owner of Sports Pacific, he was like, Justin, we're going to drive to Tampa. And I'm still an intern at the time. He's like, man, I'm going to pick you up here. We're going to drive to Tampa. And then, I'll bring you back. And maybe the game was on a Sunday morning, whatever. So, I'm in college. I go out Saturday night. I'm not late. I showed up, get in the back of his car and just pass out for the whole ride to Tampa. And then after the game, I get back, like the head athletic trainer of the Predators, who also worked for Sports Pacific at the time, he's like, Justin, yo, did you fucking get into the owner's car, fucked up and hung over and go to Tampa? I was like, yeah. And man, we still, the owner still gave me a job after that, and I worked for them for quite a while, but like we still have a laugh about that to this day. He's like, man, I would have did the same thing.
Yeah,
he's like, man, you're in college. He's like, man, we're going to the Arena Bowl. Like, shit, you're cool. Just, as long as you get your work done. So I guess I was a functional alcoholic back in college.
But that was a part of growing up. We used to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Go out all night and then show up for 7 o'clock stretch, ready to go.
It is what it is, man. You still paid, man.
When you're in your 20s, low 20s, that's
easy. I would go out, wake up, and be in church at 8 o'clock sometimes.
No problem.
Just because, cool. Yeah, slept for 2 hours.
I remember one time when I don't remember how old I was, but I was in high A. So, like, it was a long time ago. Over 10 years ago. I went to Barstool, used to do these foam parties. And they had a foam party in Tampa on the beach. And I remember I went from that foam party straight to the stadium and slept in the backseat of my truck in my board shorts, sandy as fuck. And woke up. I wasn't pitching that next day, but woke up, and once I was up and showered, it was like nothing ever happened.
Man, you can just recover different back then. I saw a video this morning saying that Gronk would go out, I think it was the day before a game, get fucked up. His boys would drop him off at the Patriots facility. Maybe it wasn't before a game because he said they dropped him off at the Patriots facility. He'd go in because everyone had like a little fob to get in. He'd pass out on the trainer's table. And then when the athletic trainers would get in the morning, they would just give him an IV. Like, not even wake him up. Just give him an IV. And then by the time practice started, he was up.
Bro, you know what's crazy about him is like the media can paint the picture of somebody however they want. And like Gronk was praised for being a party animal. Yeah. And then Johnny Football was demonized for being a party animal.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Well, to me, man,
Gronk was winning Super Bowls, and he wasn't the quarterback, so it's a little bit different. But it's just crazy how like the media
if Johnny Football didn't struggle though, same thing. He'd be
it's only a problem if it's a problem.
Right.
Like if you drink a handle of vodka before every game and you're the greatest player on the field, that's just your thing. He drinks a handle of vodka. Right. But as soon as you suck, you're an alcoholic.
Yeah, exactly. That made me think of something you asked me a long time ago. Man, I gotta remember how you phrased it. Oh, if you drink one beer, are you an alcoholic?
Yeah.
You are?
No.
you already know where I'm going.
Yeah, I do know where you're going with that. The answer to that question is it's different.
It's different. There's different rules for different
things. So you got your college shit. You went to Sports Pacific. You were there. You're a physical therapist.
Yeah. And
then you went to Premier. When you're at Premier, you were a physical therapist because of your credentials, but that's when I noticed that you weren't like on the training table with people anymore.
Right.
Like you were running people through what's going on here at New Dimensions. Like that was like basically that was the beginning stages of New Dimensions. Yeah. That's when you started. That's when you started building the foundation to what this is.
So going back, I guess to even when I was a kid, I know I mentioned that my mother was a preschool teacher, but when my parents got divorced, my mother went back to acupuncture school, and she brought, that Eastern. She was always kind of like, my mom was a hippie anyway, so she was always a hippie. Like she was, I say out there, but man, a lot of that stuff is just works and it's true. But she was
thinks
always
outside the box.
She was always, anti-medicine, anti-surgery. If I had a headache, it's like, well, why do you think you have a headache? It wasn't like, take this Advil. And then when she went to acupuncture school, she learned about herbs and, all the other Eastern modalities and stuff. So I had that upbringing probably through end of middle school, through high school, working with my mom after football, getting into NET and everything. Like there were days where like I couldn't lift my shoulder. I was like, man, I don't remember doing anything, but it must just be football. And then she would come up and, nah, you're frustrated because this, and this, and then do a little clearing. And 5 seconds later, I can lift my shoulder up. So I learned at a young age, like there's more to what affects the body than just muscles, ligaments, and bones.
Yeah, like everything's connected.
Yeah. So as I was coming through school, my original thought was, I'm gonna go to med school, right? Because again, I'm ego, surgeon, be a doctor, but I didn't want to do surgery. So I was like, what can I do to still work in the healthcare field and help people and be around sports, but not push medicine and surgery? And I was like, physical therapy is actually a great route to do that. So as I was going through sports specific, I was always trying to incorporate, like, I think I'm the first person that did cupping in Orlando.
Bro, I remember you used to scrape my back with Snapple top.
Yeah, Tiger Balm.
Tiger Balm.
I still use Tiger Balm to this day. I don't
But you
want
still
no
use
fancy
the top?
tool. I use the top to a Tiger Balm cap.
I'll
this day.
never forget. I think you're the first person that ever cupped me or scraped me. And that was at least 3 years before I saw it in a locker room.
Yeah.
At least 3 years.
I think I was the first person doing like that stuff.
Yeah.
But in the traditional physical therapy world, they were like, Justin, like you can't do that because no one else can do it. So from a business model perspective, it was like, don't do that stuff because no one can follow you and it's bad for business. Because now everybody only wants to see you and they don't want to see anybody else. Yeah. So when they told me that, like, stop practicing and stop doing the mental stuff because, it's not good for business. Like, they made me feel like, don't be the best you can be. Yeah. Just fill out these sheets and have someone do 3 sets of 10 squats and line. Get them. And I was like, I got to go off on my own. And that was the beginning of, okay, man, like maybe what I really want to do is a reality. So in my mind, I actually wrote this down on a piece of paper, probably when I was in college. I wrote down, I'm gonna have a happiness empire and a medical mall. And it's the best of every possible modality under one roof. Like that was my dream. And I put it in a little hippie wishing jar and I still have it in my house to this day.
That's sick.
But that's like when I planted the seed that took 10, like maybe 5-10 years to start really coming to fruition. Yeah. So, I left sports specific, went to Premier, doing some training, and I had that little room that was that little closet where the microwave is. So like in the middle of a mental session where like someone's crying their eyes out, like the dude would come in and heat up his lasagna. That was where the only microwave was at. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I'm like, damn, dog, like
I know.
This ain't the solution either. But like, man, it works right now because the rent was cheap. I was on my own.
You were grinding.
You
were grinding.
Yeah.
I was grinding. Everybody in that building at that time was grinding.
Everybody was grinding. Yeah, you're
Everybody
right.
in that building at that time was grinding.
But it's crazy because like if you try to make sense of a journey, you almost can't make sense of it. Like you can't wrap your head around it logically. When they say like, you gotta step off the cliff of like faith. Like, just step out on faith. Like that's really what I had to do. Because when I was working at Sports Specific and thinking about going off on my own, there was about 3 dudes that was like, if you go off, like I'll come see you. Yeah. And I was like, all right, at the time I think it was whatever, $80 an hour or something. I was like, all right, 180, 160, that's $240 a week. You know, that's $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like when you do the math, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
But I was like, yo, I gotta do it.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Like
I think I seen Steve Harvey talking about it one time, and he said the only way you can find out if you can fly is if you jump off the edge of the cliff.
That's it, dog. That's it.
And I wholeheartely believe in that as well. And I watched you do it.
No.
And that's why I tell you, man, you're a very inspiring person. And not only that, but extremely positive, always have been, always will be. But
have to be.
So you did all that. You created the foundation of this place. But I'm listening to, you know who Eric Thomas is?
Yeah, the hip-hop preacher. Yeah.
All right, so
He's
that's
dope.
my
I
new
like him.
book. That's
Yeah.
what I'm on right now.
Yeah, Eric Thomas is dope.
And one of the things he was talking about today is like everybody needs a why.
Mm-hmm.
What's your why? To help people? Is it because
What was it then, or what was it now?
Yeah, well, I guess it can change. Well,
Yeah, I think your why can change.
then we'll go your why. Then when you're in Premiere, when you went to Premiere,
my why then was I wanted to create. And part of that is ego, right? Like I want to make something work, but I wanted to have the freedom to practice the way that I felt could really change people's lives. And I knew nobody else was doing it.
yeah.
Like, so that's why I went there.
And
That was the why at the time.
that's why you went to
Premiere.
And when you say that you can help people a way that nobody else is doing it, not only physical but mental,
Right, like bringing together
Everything.
the mental aspect, the different style of physical
Yeah,
training
like
stuff.
anytime I'm talking to anybody that I play with and they start talking to me about mental shit or they had the mental coach, I'm like, yo, I got a guy for you.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times I've tried to get I always fuck this up. NAD, NED,
NET.
NET.
Yeah, neuroemotional technique.
And the NET therapy, man, is when I was young and I was coming up in the minor leagues with the Yankees, they used to send me to I used to joke about it and say they thought I was crazy because they would make me see the mental coaches once a week. But I feel like they weren't making anybody else see the mental coaches, but they were making me see the mental coaches. But what I learned from them was to think about what I'm thinking about. Mm-hmm. And now like zooming out and looking back, it's like, well, I'm an overthinker. So telling me to think about what I'm thinking about is just making me think more when in reality, I need to think less. Mm-hmm. And I think that after being around you and just life experience and everything else, I've learned that for me, like the biggest thing that helped me get to where I've been is like learning how my brain works compared to how your brain works, compared to how the next brain works. And I think that connecting with you in my life and in my experience was a huge step in that. Like you opening me up to the NET stuff, mm-hmm. And then just like all the conversations we've had throughout the time, I've learned that like the way my brain is wired is much different than the way your brain is wired. Yeah. Once I started focusing on like learning how mine's wired so that I can make it do what I need it to do when I need it to do it, like in competition, that's when I started to thrive.
Absolutely.
You know, so when they were getting me to think about what I was thinking about and you need to think about this instead of that and all these other things, like after talking to you about so many things, I learned that like that's not flow state.
Right.
Right? Like I'm not reacting, I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. So figuring out for myself how to turn all that off and just react or just flow. Yeah. Like once I got good at that, that's when I got good at baseball.
There's a quote or something. I know I'm gonna butcher the quote, but it's something like being able to master or like conquer others or master others is strength, but being able to master yourself is true power or true wisdom. So yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Like when you know how you work and you could just be the best version of you, like shit, like fuck.
Yeah, it's like
else. Like, yeah, what do you mean? Don't matter what everyone else is doing.
Exactly.
Like, do you to the best of your ability. Everything else is gonna.
It's like we talked about this earlier. The video on Instagram I saw with the guys talking about when you do the podcast or whatever you're doing. Like you're the niche. Yeah. Like I'm the niche.
Do you?
You're your own niche.
Right.
And I think that that's extremely powerful. I want to talk about one thing that we've gone over because I think a lot of people can use this, not just athletes, but the on switch thing. Like we had the NET the one time, and we were talking about my one season versus my next season, and I had a really good year, and I was always wearing an arm sleeve, and I was still trying to figure out my brain at the time, right? So I realized that I was stressed out about having the arm sleeve all the time. So the following year, I'm like, fuck that, I'm not gonna wear the arm sleeve. I'm just gonna wear long sleeves, because I was always stressed out about making sure I had the arm sleeve before the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes it wouldn't come back to my locker or whatever. And now I'm searching the locker room to find an arm sleeve, and I'm just always worried about it. So I'm like, fuck that, I'm gonna wear long sleeves. Wear long sleeves, had a shitty year. The year that I was wearing the arm sleeve had a good year. So we're doing the NAT, and we're just kind of, I think the session itself was over, and now we were just kind of talking shop, and you were like, bro, what was the difference? Like, what did you do different this year? I'm like, I literally did everything the same except I wore long sleeves. And you're like, tell me more about that. And we dove into the whole arm sleeve thing, and that's when we realized that I had lost my on switch by taking off the arm sleeve, throwing it on the ground, and then running out onto the field right before competition. My brain knew that it was time to go to competition. No different than you shouldn't get in your bed unless you're going to sleep, because then your brain knows it's time to go to sleep. So the most interesting part about all of that is that I was like, that's fucking crazy. So I implemented that back that next following season, and that was the year that I was an all-star.
But your new on switch was
the Chestslap then became my off switch, but I didn't realize that the Chestslap was my off switch until I knew that I had an on switch first.
Yeah.
Right. So my on switch was the arm sleeve, throw it down, go out there, compete. And then after talking with Kinsler and figuring all this other stuff out, I decided that I'm going to slap my chest after the inning to remind myself like I'm the man. And then that's where the Chestslap came in. And then the Chestslap was already there for me for whatever reason. It was just something that I did. But like in competition and into an on or off switch, that's when the Chestslap became my off switch. But I think it's extremely powerful. Like if I was to be a public speaker, I would need an on switch. If I was to be a car salesman, I would need it. Like I've learned that I need an on switch. So I feel like anybody should have an on switch.
But I think it's different for everybody, because you can condition. So really what that is like you condition your brain that when that comes off and you throw it on the ground, something triggers and you're ready to go. And not everybody might need that. Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like you can truthfully condition your biochemistry, your brain, your rhythms to do whatever you need or do whatever you want. But coming back to wisdom and mastering self, like for you to learn that about yourself.
Yeah, like I need an on switch.
You need that. Yeah, like me personally, I probably just need to relax. Like I need to chill before competition. Like when I compete in jiu-jitsu, like I'm like, I need to find a way to settle down. Like I don't need an on switch. I need a chill switch. So for me, like with my NET and how my body processes stress, I was like, all right, I need to actually find something to not have an on switch. Yeah, to come back a little bit. So I think everybody is a little different in those scenarios.
Wow. I'm glad you mentioned jiu-jitsu, because I wanted to ask you this.
All right.
I see this video often on my feed on Instagram, you talking about jiu-jitsu and what it's done for your life.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that.
Jiu-jitsu is a combat sport that forces you to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations and process information in a pressure situation when somebody is trying to suffocate you, right? Strangle you or manipulate a joint to the point that it would break. So when you tap in jiu-jitsu, it's called submission, right? So there's power in submission, and you're really saying, please stop, or, you're going to break one of my joints, or please let go, or you will actually kill me. So a lot of people call it murder yoga, right? So you're playing this murder yoga constantly, and you train your brain almost like a cold tub, right? Like you're training your brain to be calm in a life-threatening situation.
Yeah.
And that translates to everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like whether it's business, whether it's another sport, whether it's a relationship, like your brain is now capable of being calm in high pressure, stressful situations. So Tell me what.
So
that
it makes your all day, every day just calmer.
Very much calmer. And that's from a physiological perspective. I think from an ego male perspective, and this is what I talked about in the video is, as a young male, like you really feel like you could defend yourself.
Right.
Like if it really came down to a fight, like I could defend myself. Jiu-jitsu taught me, like, no, you can't.
Yeah, no,
like, you
can't.
will die.
Yeah.
Like, you will get killed fucking around out here. And, like these bars, if you push the wrong person. So, by training every day, like in the video I was saying, I'm much more capable of defending myself now, which brings me just a piece of a man because I have this confidence. God forbid anything was to go down, I could defend myself. But I'm also that much less likely to engage in any sort of physical altercation because I know what people are capable of.
You don't need to prove yourself anymore.
And I know what people are capable of.
Yeah.
Like, I get fucked up all the time in training by people that you don't think could fuck you up.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo,
I'd
dudes are serious.
I'd get fucked up in there. Yeah.
So it's like, yo, I'm chill. I go out. Like,
I remember when I was
like,
coming.
I don't know what he's capable of. Look at him.
I remember coming here just to throw hands with you the one time, or more than once, but during that small part of
so
my life. So
people know, like, we weren't trying to fight. Like, we were hitting pads.
Yeah, I was hitting pads, and you had the pads on, and I had the gloves on, and we did like 2 or 3 weeks where I'm just hitting the gloves, and then the one day you're like, yo, I'm gonna start throwing these back at you. I want you to dodge them.
Game changer.
And I don't think I dodged one fucking. I got hit in the nose like 100,000 times that day.
Yeah.
And that was the day, I tell Bo this all the time, like that was the day that I learned that these boxers and these fighters, like they're on a whole nother level. Like all the YouTube and the TikTokers or whatever that are doing the boxing, like the Jake Pauls of the world, like mucho respect to that guy.
Yeah.
For him to get in the ring with anybody that's ever fought in the UFC, I don't care who you are or what you think, like for someone to just decide that they're going to start training for that shit and then get in the ring and fight somebody at that caliber is...
Yeah, he's training his ass off. Like he's legit. Like
he's legit. I ain't fighting that guy.
No, he knocked me the hell
out. I want
of
no fucking part of that. So mucho respect to him.
Absolutely.
And anybody that's following his path or was doing that before him, because that shit is... I would love to train. I enjoy it because my uncle was a boxer back in the day, and so I've always kind of liked it. I've always kind of liked fighting, and fighting's a primal thing. I saw... I think it was St. Pierre on the Full Sim Pod was talking about you could go to the Super Bowl, and if a fight breaks out in the stands, what happens? Everybody turns around and starts watching the fight.
So here's the analogy I always give. We might have had this conversation before, but in baseball, like someone, the pitcher throws at the batter and he is fucking livid. What do?
They fight.
They fight. Football, right? Football's a contact sport. Like they're banging into each other full speed the whole game. But if it escalates to a certain level, they fight. Basketball, if things escalate to a certain level, they fight. Like, so at the end of the day, fighting is the ultimate equalizer of like mono, like man versus man. Like with fighting, like you skip all the sports shit. Like fuck these sports.
Yeah.
We're just gonna fight.
We're fighting.
Like dog, it's very primal, it's crazy.
I would love to train for boxing because I enjoy it, but I don't think I could ever get in the ring. I would have to be really confident in my skills. I'm not getting in a ring until I think that I could actually do some shit. But I do enjoy doing it for fun and for training.
But on the other hand, like there's lessons to be learned in getting your ass kicked.
Of course.
Anywhere. So like,
there's lessons to be learned failing anything.
Yeah.
And with baseball, let me tell you, brother, you fail a lot.
Yeah, shit.
And when you're pitching in the 8th and the 9th inning or the 7th inning even, I mean, shit, even if you're a starter, but if I suck, the team loses. If the hitter sucks, the team's not going to lose necessarily. But if I suck, if I don't do my job today, the team loses. So now everybody in the locker room is pissed off because we were supposed to win. And then we lost. It's like the field goal kicker.
But here's the crazy thing. And man, you told me this, which, I was like, damn, you're right. Even if you don't suck and you're great and you throw the perfect ball.
Yeah, you throw the perfect pitch.
You throw the perfect pitch exactly where you want to throw, but the hitter hits it.
Yeah, it don't matter.
You still suck.
I still suck.
But you were fucking great.
Yeah.
But no one knows that.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Crazy. That's crazy with
baseball.
Baseball
Is the only sport in the world you can do everything right and be the worst player on the field.
Yeah.
And you can do everything wrong and be the best player on the field.
Yeah, that's wild. That's when I guess you just have to go fight after that.
But realistically, it's like that's life.
Yeah, man.
That's life.
But I think in life, like you could do a lot of the right things and right things
more often
I guess
than not.
baseball too.
But baseball's the same way. I mean, the goal is to always do or always be perfect. Or always do everything perfect. Or always make the right pitch and locate the right pitch and execute the right pitch. But just because you do doesn't mean shit. But the goal is
smack your shit eventually.
Yeah, you're always striving to do that every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like bring your A game every time.
And even when you do it, like you said, failure is going to come even when you're perfect. Yeah,
failure is going to come. And then the greatest, the great players or whatever, they deal with the failures.
Yeah.
The best. They don't necessarily have to be the most talented, but they will deal with the failures the best. And that will make them look like they're the most talented because they're not riding the roller coaster of the ups and the downs.
I think the greats, and it's something that I've worked on for myself too, but there is no such thing as failing. There's something in the jiu-jitsu community, they say I either win or I learn. Like I've never failed in my life.
Yeah.
I never failed.
I love that.
I won or I learned, right? So it's like if you can go into things with that mentality, like failure, like because failure has a negative connotation, right? Yeah. It's like a low vibrational energy. But learning has a high vibrational energy.
Yeah, it's about how you word it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's about how you word it.
It's semantics, but man, that stuff works.
I was extremely blessed in the minor leagues coming up. We had a great group of guys, and Slade Heathcote was one of the ones that was like, Slade.
Yeah, he gets collagen every day.
Yeah, talk about like faking it until you make it, like with positivity. Yeah. It didn't matter what was going on. We were being, you're tired? You ain't tired, dog.
Yeah, tired.
Tired. You know who's tired? So you just start going and that shit works, man. And I do my best. We talk about this all the time, but I do my best to be that guy in the clubhouse. I take a lot of pride in that. If you can change the energy in a room in a positive way, then next thing you know, someone else has changed the energy in a positive way. And then next thing you know, man, that group of guys that you're with every day, like that, I believe that's how you win, and that's how you create a championship team.
I love those guys. Like when I'm around those guys, I'm like, yeah. Like,
the biggest thing that I miss in the off seasons is that. Yeah. It's like walking into a room of dudes and like being that wave of positive energy.
For sure.
Like that, I take so much pride in that, and I fucking love that shit.
Yeah, no, that's the. But you can still do it, like, cause you got good friends around you.
But
like,
even coming here,
like
even coming here and seeing you here, like when I show up, it's game on.
That's life, man. Like go through life like that. Be positive. Bring that positive energy. There's man, someone might be able to tell us what this actually is called, but it's like if you take two pendulums and you drop them in opposite directions, one of the pendulums is going to sync with the other one, and the one of like the lower vibrational frequency always syncs with the one of the higher vibrational frequency. So like if you could walk into a room of people and you bring that high vibrational energy, the love, the joy, the excitement, the peace, the enlightenment, like anyone that's low is going to start climbing up eventually. And like I said, people love that guy because everybody wants to, whether they know it or not.
It's an attraction.
It's an attraction.
It's an attraction.
Like it's going to happen regardless. And people are like, yo, I like being around that guy. Like, like
who I want to be or what I want to be is like really what I want you to say about me. You know what I mean? Like, if they just put a microphone in front of you and said, yo, what do you think about Shane Green? Like, what I want to come out of your mouth is who I want to be. Right. So like, that's kind of how like I try to zoom out and that's my perspective with it. But, I believe I do a pretty good job, but I learned a lot along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let me ask you this last question. What would you tell Justin Cobb 20 years ago?
Man, there's a lot. Man, I hate to take it to like the financial route, but one, like, yo, save your money, right? Like don't go buy the fancy sneakers and the bottles. Like, yo, put that, invest it.
Find a bootlegger.
More. Yeah. Man, invest it. I would sell my bootlegs and then go hang out, like, yo, we're gonna get some Hennessy and Hypnotic tonight, man. I just made, invest your money. Have your money, make money. because that's only going to help you in the long run. I'm so blessed and fortunate to be in the environment I'm in now with what I would call, I'll call financially literate people, very successful and wealthy that are giving me knowledge now, but I wish I had that knowledge 20 something years ago. So I would definitely tell him that. And I would also tell him, man, relax.
Relax.
Like, relax. It's going to be okay. Like, yeah, relax. It's going to be okay. All through, and we didn't get into this, but later on through college, what kind of took me down the route of NET was anxiety, which now looking back, I'm like, okay, like panic attacks to a certain degree, but I was really just like a frustrated, if you saw me on the outside, laid back, but like my mind was always going, like you said, overthinking, frustrated, wanted everything fast, wanted things quick, didn't have patience for anything, like always wanting the next thing or to finish this. And like, if you could just tell that dude, like, yo, enjoy the moment, relax. Like, yo, we're just here. We're not going anywhere. We're here. Enjoy.
That's one of the hardest things for me to do as well.
Crazy.
Like the be where your feet are thing.
Be where your feet are.
It's a dicey concept because it's like you want to have goals, you want to strive for goals. All those goals are forever going to be in the future, right?
Yeah.
You want to learn from the past. You don't want to repeat your mistakes in the past. That's not the present.
Right.
So like figuring out a way to do both of those things, but also be here and now is for me the hardest thing to do. Yeah. Especially like where I am right now in my career with like how the last couple of years have gone. Like I'm constantly thinking about when could I have went left when I went right, or when could I have went right when I went left, or you know when's my phone gonna ring, or you know what's gonna happen in January.
Best of luck with all them thoughts.
Right? It's fucking wild. Luck. But I'll tell you what, I had like a year where it was really hard on me, and the last probably year and a half, I've been really good, and I feel really good, which is why I'm finally doing this, right? I've only talked about this for 5 years, and now we're finally here.
But I will say, and I could say this because we did the work together, but you worked on yourself. You did a lot of work. We processed a lot of
shit.
Things, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't do the work on themselves.
Well, a lot of people are unaware of it.
Yeah, a lot of people are unaware.
Most people would say like, oh, I'm normal, or I don't overthink, or I'm not depressed, or
anxiety is normal. What do you mean? Life is stressful. Like,
yeah, but another part of that too is like, how often do you? We talk about this. You go to the grocery store and the person bagging your groceries is like, oh, how you doing today? And I'm like, amazing. And they're like, wow, why? And I'm like, well, you want me to just say hanging in there? Because that's a negative connotation. Like that's creating negative.
You know,
I'm always going to say amazing.
Different day.
Yeah, same shit. You know, hanging in there.
When people say that, I'm like, fuck.
It's like, but that's what everybody says. And they don't mean it in a bad way. Like they mean it in the same way that I'm saying amazing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it's not, it's like, it's the change your water shit where it's like.
I have to relay this story because, man, it was, for some reason, this is one of them stories that just stick out of my mind. And I actually get emotional every time I tell it for some reason. But I went to this bookstore here in Orlando. It's the Spiral Circle bookstore. It's kind of a metaphysical, spiritual bookstore. And there's this old lady that was running it with her husband. Her name is Beverly. And I went in there on my lunch break to just, read some books, unwind, study. And she was like, hey, Justin, how are you? And I was like, I'm good. And she grabbed me. She said, no. How are you? And I was like, oh, she really wants to know how I am. Yeah. Then we sat and had like a 30-minute conversation. But man, so many times I think people like, man, yo, how are you? Good. Good. Yeah. It's like a conditioned response. But exactly. Like very young. Like, yo, no, dog, how are you?
Yeah,
like, what's happening? Like, how are you? And people don't have those conversations. And it's so, man, another quote, but it says, everybody wants to feel loved. Everybody walking this earth wants to feel loved. and we have the power to give that to them.
Yeah.
Like, you have the power to make someone feel loved. And it's one of the things that I try to do here is in the medical field. Like, the medical field is notorious for like, all right, what do you have? Your elbow hurts? All right, here, take these pills, come back in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
What I teach our employees and what I try to do is like, yo, tell me about your elbow. What's going on? When did it, like, how did that happen? Why does that bother you? Like, how is that affecting you? So what are you trying to accomplish with that? Why do you want to accomplish that? Oh, so what we're really trying to accomplish is like this. You want to feel, you know, successful as a father so you can, you know, be better for your children. The elbow's keeping you from feeling like that. I get it. All right, well, let's work on that together. And when you say know your whys, like when you can get someone to understand their why at that deeper level, like, yeah, of course everyone wants their elbow to feel better, but like this dude wants to feel like a man. Like he wants to be a father for his kids. That's gonna allow him to do things at a higher level with a more intensity, with more discipline, because he truly understands those whys. But nobody really takes that time to listen to somebody. Like, no one wants to. Everyone's like, I don't got time to listen to somebody.
Everybody's
like,
in a hurry.
Man, if you could sit down and listen to somebody, like you'll probably make a best friend every day just by listening to somebody.
Just by having a conversation, it could change your day.
Change your life.
Change your life.
You know what I'm saying? It can change somebody else's life.
Yeah.
I don't even have to do anything. I'm just going to listen to you and I'm going to change your life. Why? Because you feel heard. Like you feel loved. You feel cared for. So powerful. And it's so simple to do. Just stop. Stop and listen. Be in the moment. Be where your feet are.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. We could
you.
go for
days.
We'll just have to do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
We'll do it again.
We'll make sure we do it again.
I appreciate you coming on, man. Enjoyed it. You want to talk about New Dimensions for a second?
Yeah. Man, if you're listening to this, you can support us at ndwellness.com, on Instagram, nd_wellness. You know, we're on YouTube at New Dimensions Wellness. A lot of good content on there. If you're not in the Orlando area and you want to see some of the stuff that we do, again, we have online programs. So any support, man, I would love it. Thank you all.
Check them out. Come see them. It's changed my life. I spent a lot of time here. Let's get out here. Give me a chest slap.
You got it.
Let's go.